In this video, did the Final Fantasy VII Remake novel confirm Costa del Sol? Probably, plus more material Ultimania Plus translation highlights from Audrey, so let's get odd. Definitely check out Audrey on Twitter if that tickles your fancy. Lately she has been posting a lot of content such as translations for material Ultimania Plus as well as Trace of Two Paths, so check that out. So first thing up is Costa del Sol. I know what you might be thinking. In the original Final Fantasy VII, after the crew leaves Midgar, they head towards Calm, which, spoiler alert, if you have not yet played Intergrade, they already kind of do in the ending cutscene for episode Intermission, and at Calm they might show the Nibelheim flashback, and then they head towards the Chocobo farm, pass by the Midgar Zolom, and then they head towards Junon, or Junin. And then after Junon, they hop on the cargo ship towards Costa del Sol. And although Final Fantasy VII Remake is not a one-for-one remake, it is hitting most of the main story beats of the original. So even without this potential confirmation, it would make sense that Cloud and his crew would eventually encounter Costa del Sol, especially in Remake Part 2. But still, it is kind of interesting to see something written, to have some sort of potential written confirmation of news for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. So Audrey on Twitter at @itaikimochi says, "We are already at Junon in the book? What the hell?" That's my impression of Audrey, by the way. And then in her next post, there's a picture of them on the cargo ship. Again, spoiler alert if you haven't yet played the original, with Tifa saying, "Everyone alright?" Barrett saying, "You alright?" And they're all in the Shinra uniform. Barrett's in a sailor suit. And Audrey says, "The Aerith episode from the Trace of Two Pasts starts off with everyone already on the boat to Costa del Sol while wearing Shinra uniforms. What the hell?" And she goes on to say, "The book actually jumps to this part already. I wonder how we will get there from Calm then. Tifa asks if Aerith is seasick and says talking helps with the seasickness. Aerith says she is not seasick, but Tifa looks like she wants to talk, so Aerith talks about her past." And Audrey follows up by saying, "It's pretty surprising that they would just insert this scene into the book since we're not even at Calm in the game yet. I was definitely not expecting this out of nowhere. LOL." I think that means laugh out loud. And that is interesting because if you have played through Remake Part 1 and also Episode Intermission, you would know that the end of Episode Intermission takes us up until the road towards Calm. We haven't even reached Calm yet, and the part in the novel that starts with Aerith starts with them apparently on the cargo ship. So the book starts past Junon, and they're on the cargo ship towards Costa del Sol. So it's kind of an interesting decision why they would do that. I'm not sure if anyone was anticipating that this novel was going to contain so much detail. From what I gathered, a lot of people thought it was just going to be kind of like maybe fluff or some side stories, and they haven't confirmed how canon the novel is, but it is an interesting decision to start Aerith's part in the novel on the cargo ship. So I also wanted to share some more highlights of Audrey's translations of material Ultimania Plus. So in this one, it has to do with the short flashback that Cloud experiences near the beginning of the game. The question is, during the Mako reactor scene when Cloud recalls his memories of Nibelheim, the song Anxious Heart Fake Memories plays. As the song name suggests, is this some memory that has been created by other factors? Co-director Motomu Toriyama responds, "Within Cloud resides some lingering effects as a result of the experiments done on him that he himself is not aware of. These are represented throughout the story as a noise in his consciousness or takes shape as an illusion. In the Mako reactor scene, the memories he recalls of his hometown bring forth feelings of sadness and anxiety, an anxious heart. To what extent are these memories real? Where did these recollections come from? Or perhaps these are just things that Cloud himself wishes for? That has yet to be expressed." So I like the phrase that he uses here, "These are represented throughout the story as a noise in his consciousness or takes shape as an illusion." So when they show parts of Cloud's past or even his present, we as the player are not sure if these are his true memories or if these are his wishes. We're not sure where these recollections come from. I like the mystery of it because we're not really sure what's real or not. And that's a huge theme of the game and the character of Cloud and his identity crisis. Obviously, his recollection of the past, namely the Nibelheim incident, is extremely false. And I believe they're going to explore that further in Remake Part 2 and beyond. But as a character, that must be really tough for Cloud because anything and everything he remembers, he's not even sure himself which are real. And it also makes it confusing, but it keeps us guessing, which I think is a good thing. And another highlight that we can take a look at is a forgotten promise in Chapter 3. This is the cutscene between Cloud and Tifa over at 7th Heaven after Tifa gets out of her meeting. So Tifa says, "I know we have to think big if we want to make a difference, but not like this. I feel trapped." And Cloud responds, "If it feels wrong, don't do it." So the note here says Tifa is disappointed that Cloud seems to not remember the promise they made when they were children, where Cloud would save her if she was in a bind. A shadow of a smile crosses her face. Even though Tifa detects that Cloud does not remember their promise, she does not bring it up. So I made a video a while back talking about why they changed the timing and placement of Cloud's promise from the original and the remake, but this translation made me want to revisit that scene. And it is interesting that in Chapter 4 Mad Dash of the remake, Cloud has a flashback of when he and Tifa were kids and he made that promise to her over in Nibelheim. And then right after that, they actually cut back to the scene between Cloud and Tifa. So it seems as if in that moment, Cloud realizes that Tifa was in a bind and she felt trapped. Tifa felt like she wanted to remind Cloud about his promise, but she doesn't bring it up. And I think on this side mission that Cloud goes on to help Jessie and Avalanche, I think he realizes that that's what Tifa wanted. So the next highlight is between Aerith and Cloud. Question: in the scene where Cloud watches Aerith walk away, the script says his fingers buzzed and his eyes burned. This caused him to recall a scene from the original Final Fantasy VII's Forgotten Capital, and this overwhelming anxiety made him let out a tear. Why did this happen? And Toriyama-san responds, "Spending time with Aerith is fun, although the unstable future teeters back and forth upon them." Even though this scene is only showing Aerith casually meeting up with Cloud, there might be something from Cloud and Aerith that is at work here during these precious moments. In addition, in the original Final Fantasy VII game, there is a scene in the Sleeping Forest where Aerith is featured with similar composition and movements, and it's possible that one of the causes of Cloud's tear is because a memory of the future was awakened. So again, the phrase "memory of the future" comes up in this translation, which is kind of confusing, but I think that is part of the mysterious power that Aerith has as a Cetra, and it is also affecting Cloud. And again, Cloud just must be in a state of just confusion because his past is unclear, and now he's getting confusing memories of the future that he's kind of sensing, and it might not be completely clear to him at this moment, or to the player for that matter, but in this moment he does sense somewhat of a memory of the future, which causes him to shed a tear. So the last highlight that I wanted to look at has to do with Nanaki, aka Red 13. Question: can you explain why Red 13 lost his consciousness in Chapter 16? It seems the Whispers would chase after him since his violent demeanor deviates from the destiny that the Whispers aim for, so why did they not stop him? And Toriyama-san responds, Red 13 did not lose his consciousness, rather, it was the result of repeated experiments by Hojo that planted fear and anger into him. After releasing these emotions, he acts like a type of wary wild animal. However, thanks to Aerith's courage in reaching out to him, he is able to calm down, so the Whispers did not need to intervene here. In addition, when Aerith comes in contact with Red 13, he is able to obtain knowledge that only he can see due to his longevity. However, the amount he receives is so vast that he is not able to see everything clearly. So the other characters such as Aerith, her mysterious power as a Cetra, she is able to sense the future, and Cloud is able to kind of sense sense a blurry future as well, which neither of them may understand what's happening, and they might not understand that they are seeing confusing scenes of the future in their mind. But as said by Toriyama-san in this translation, Red 13, because of his longevity, is not only able to see the near future, but he can kind of see far into the future and a larger amount of knowledge because of who he is and his longevity. So although he is able to sense further into the future, the amount of knowledge that he receives is still so vast that he is not able to see everything clearly. So in that scene towards the end of Remake, he knows and understands enough that he tells the group that is a glimpse of the future that might happen if we are to fail here today. So even though I believe in the original they say he's like 16 in human years, he probably has the most wisdom out of the group, I would say, especially having been under the guidance of his grandfather Bugenhagen. But all of these things, like Cloud having memories of the past and memories of the future that are unclear to him, that he's not sure if they're real, and Aerith and Nanaki having memories of the future, they're all kind of things that they will for sure explore further in Remake Part 2. So if you have any further comments or thoughts, definitely let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and consider subscribing if you like this video and you want to see more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Stay odd and keep on playing.